Few months ago, I made a video covering 25 awesome free-to-play co-op games that you could play with your friends in 2026, and you guys seem to really enjoy that video. So this is going to be more like the second part of that video, and I'm going to talk about 10 more awesome free co-op games that you can play right now with your friends. We got brand new releases, underrated games, and seriously fun indie-style experiences that you can easily jump in with your friends. And every single game on the list is 100% free-to-play. You can simply go ahead and download them right now on Steam. And if you're new here, guys, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps support the channel, so let's get started. Alright, starting with a bit of a newly released title on Steam called Delivery and Beyond. And it's kind of a game that can turn completely normal delivery job into absolute chaos. In this game, you and your friends work for this rather questionable delivery company, and your job sounds very simple. You basically have to take contracts, collect scrap, and turn scrap into deliveries and somehow make enough money to keep the whole operation going. But the game becomes really interesting once you realize everything around you can be useful for your job. You can break apart furniture, electronics, and random piece of junk to collect scrap and finally get those deliveries done. There are 5 different randomly generated maps with up to 5 players on online co-op, and everything is obviously randomly generated, meaning you have to work together, figure out how to reach different areas and collect what you need. But obviously with a group of friends, I'm sure the actual plan will fall apart pretty quickly. All in all, a very fun game to jump in with your friends, and also right now sitting on very positive reviews. If you and your friends looking for something a little more tactical than your usual run and gun shooter, Thunder Tier 1 is a game that deserves way more attention. This is a top-down tactical shooter set in the 1990s where you become a part of an elite special operation team sent into a fictional country to take down this dangerous terrorist organization. I know some people don't like this top-down style gameplay, but this game can be surprisingly deep when it comes to mechanics. And before heading into missions, you can build your own loadout, different weapons, attachments, ammunition, armor, grenade and equipment. Then you and your team have to actually think about how you approach the objective. You can go completely stealth, like sneak in with suppressed weapons and night vision, or just can go all guns blazing if you like. The main campaign is designed around 4-player online co-op with I believe like 9 different story missions, but if you don't have friends, you can of course play solo with AI teammates, which is another big bonus and also a bit of an underrated game in my opinion. So jump in with your friends and enjoy. It's completely free on Steam. And if you have been around the channel for a while, you might actually recognize this game. It is Codename CURE II, a game that already covered in a dedicated video, and honestly, I had really good time playing this. It's a free-to-play co-op zombie-style first-person survival shooter, kind of inspired from games like Left 4 Dead and World War Z. You can jump in with up to 4 of your friends on online co-op. It looks like a very simple zombie shooter, but it can be very intense and difficult depending on the difficulty that you choose. You get 5 different classes, each with their own set of weapons and playstyles, and missions are mostly set on these procedurally generated maps with different objectives every time you jump in. And at the end of every mission, you gotta fight your way through this intense zombie hordes that running at you from every direction, and finally made it to the safe zone with a very limited time. The game is totally free to play. There is no pay to win nonsense in this game. If you want to check out the full review, I will link it down below. It's such a fun game to play if you're into shooters. Totally free to download on Steam. Now, if you get a one friend who actually know how to communicate, you might want to give it a try on our next game called Sync or Sync. This game throws you and your friend inside an old Cold War submarine that's slowly falling apart, but the thing is that you two can't see each other. Instead, you are separated into a different part of the submarine, so you have to communicate entirely through a walkie-talkie. So one player might looking at a control panel while the other one trying to figure out which system need to be repaired. You have to constantly describing what you see, relying on codes, solving puzzles, and guiding each other through the submarine. Plus, you have a very limited amount of time, you got limited resources, and also limited number of system breakdowns. Game right now on early access on Steam, plus it's totally free to check out. Alright, next up we have Fortnite Save the World. And I know probably what you're thinking, right? Fortnite, really? Well, if you launch Fortnite, most people are going to straight into Battle Royale, zero builds, or thousands other experiences that is available on the game. But there's actually a whole PvE co-op zombie style survival campaign called Fortnite Save the World, which recently went completely free to play. It's more like a tower defense style survival mode where you and your friends fight through these hordes of monsters. You gotta collect resources, craft weapons, build massive defenses, players and can be super fun to jump in with a bunch of your friends. But if you don't have any friends to play, that is not going to be a problem either. You can play solo with AI teammates, which is again another bonus. This game mode is completely free to play right now. If you're playing on PC, obviously it's available on Epic Games Store and also on the console side as well. Alright, moving on to a bit of an underrated indie style game on Steam called Dodgy Deliveries. It's a free-to-play co-op game where you and your friends basically run your own delivery service in this open world kind of city. The goal is very simple: take on deliveries, explore the city, and make enough money to pay the rent and keep the business running. The city is filled with NPCs, traffic, and plenty of places to explore, but there is also some strange things lurking around after the dark, so you have to uncover the secret of the city, learning more about these creatures and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a weird game and obviously built around online co-op. It's a pretty approachable game, visually very easy to run, so even if you have a low-end PC, it's a nice game to try out with your friends. Now there is a little game that I stumbled across very recently on Steam and honestly deserve way more attention, especially if you're into fun co-op platformers. This game is called Unknowz. It's a free-to-play two-player co-op adventure style of a platformer game where you take control of these two different pirates. The one is called Jack and he's an undead pirate who obsessed with explosives, and the other one called Ed, which is a living pirate who basically trying to keep himself together. Two of you are trapped inside this mysterious little island that completely overrun by hostile skeletons, and your only way to survival is working together. And this isn't one of those games where both players are basically doing the exact same thing. These two have different unique abilities and mechanics, so you will have to figure out how to combine them and get through the island. It's such a fun little game with a very beautiful, cartoonish, colorful art style. Obviously the game is totally free to play on Steam and designed around specifically for two-player co-op with local co-op and also remote play together available on Steam. Alright, moving on, next up we have another game called Stitchlings, and I think I remember mentioning this one in one of my monthly free game videos. It's a colorful top-down action game where you and your friends jump into this miniature patchwork world and fight your way through these little weird fabric-looking monsters. The interesting part is that the monsters you take down can actually become part of your character, letting you stitch different abilities and trinkets into your Stitchling and change up your combat style as you progress. It's another game that's designed to play with another player, which means two-player local co-op, or you can play the game on a split screen, which is rare to find in 2026. It's simple, colorful, easy to run, and totally free on Steam. You guys might remember playing hide and seek as a kid, right? Well, imagine taking that simple idea and throwing it into a huge environment with parkour, stealth, and even a few weapons. This game is called Come Out Guys. It's a very new game that literally came out like last month, and you're playing as these tiny characters running around this giant world where hiders have to use the environment to their advantage, like climbing walls, jumping across objectives, hiding inside furniture. Then others have to find everyone before the timer runs out. The best part is that the game is built around 2 to 8 player online co-op, so you can grab a whole group and turn this simple hide and seek game into a complete chaos. It's colorful, goofy, and very easy to run as well. Alright, moving on to our final game, we have a game called Synthetic Arena. At first glance, this might look like a simple top-down shooter, but once you actually start playing, there is a surprising amount of depth in this game. You drop into this retro-futuristic world controlled by a raw machine army, and your job is to basically fight your way through increasingly difficult challenges while upgrading your character and your arsenal along the way. There are dozens of weapons, items, perks, and upgrades to experiment with, plus you can bring another friend to enjoy two-player online chaos, and both can share perks, buffs, item, and loot. The game is definitely on the more challenging side, I would say, but once you get the hang of it, it's really satisfying to play. Visually, it's fairly simple, easy to run, very retro style kind of game, so download, try it out, completely free at the moment. Well, there you have it, guys. These are 10 more awesome free co-op games that you can jump in with your friends right now in 2026, and hopefully you found at least a couple of new games to try out. And if you did enjoy the game, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more free-to-play game coverage like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.